Hi guys, welcome back to Fragments of a Simple Life, where every video I make is super simple. I did a poll in the community tab to see what video I should make for my Monday video, and at the time that I looked at it, the winner was this magazine, Terrifying Real Life Stories of Haunted Houses and Scary Mysteries. Over here I have like a little notepad that has post-its on it, and it also has these little tiny like page tabs. My son wrote "I love you" right there to me. Isn't that cute? But I think I might use these so that way as we go through this magazine and I read a story to you, I will use one of those little tabs or post-its, so I don't do the story twice, because there's way too many stories in here for just one video. So this says ghost towns, creepy cemeteries, abandoned prisons, spooky hotels, and other paranormal places. I have a couple of other magazines like this from last season that I never finished. So we definitely have more stories that we could read if you guys like creepy content. Sometimes it's fun to just turn on one of these videos when you're cleaning, maybe doing the dishes or laundry, because you don't really have to pay attention to the video. I'm not doing anything special with my hands. You can close your eyes if you are in bed and just listen while I tell some stories for you guys. So this is the table of contents. Unlike other magazines with these creepy ones, I do like to tell you what our choices are. So it says we have House of Horrors, discover the disturbing tales behind the country. I think it's probably talking about the United States. The country's most infamous haunted homes and scenes of grisly death, including the what is it called? I don't know how to say it. Axe Murder House, the Amityville Horror House, Ed Gaines Farm, among others. I think that's how you say his name, right? Ed Gaines. That sounds familiar to me from other people's videos. Chapter 2 is going to be Hotel Hauntings, Spooky Specters of Wartime Sailors, Apparitions of Scorned Lovers with Unfinished Business, Spirits of Children Causing Mischief Among the Living. These accommodations appear to have guests who never checked out. Chapter 3 is Eerie Ghost Towns. Once thriving places like St. Elmo, Colorado, and Kennecott, Alaska, went from gold rush meccas to mere shadows of their former glory in relatively brief periods. What remains of these ghost towns now are abandoned ruins and a lot of history. I can remember reading about some of these ghost towns in previous videos, like I said, from last year. It's crazy how these mining towns go up and then disappear, never to be used again. Very, very strange. Chapter 4, Paranormal Places. From the ghost-ridden Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in West Virginia, geez, that's a name, right? To the famed Hollywood Forever Cemetery in Los Angeles, where spirits of stars past still hold court. These are some of America's most haunted locales. Chapter 5, Unsolved Mysteries. Who was the mysterious watcher terrorizing the Broaddus family in New Jersey? Did Lizzie Borden really murder her father and stepmother? I don't think it was really Lizzie Borden. That's just my opinion. Why did Sarah Winchester never stop renovating her home? Learn about these spine-tickling enigmas and more. I'll read you the intro, which I believe is just here. And then what I like to do is skip around so I'm not reading a bunch of one kind of story. So let's start with the introduction. The paranormal pool. Throughout history, people have searched for ways to explain the unexplainable. Most times, the answers to their questions have been provided by science. Through a reasoned approach that included observation, investigation, experimentation, and analysis, researchers unraveled the mysteries that surrounded such questions as why does the sun rise and set? And why does a child look like her parents? But other phenomena experienced by some people are frustratingly resistant to scientific methodology and procedure. Why do I hear strangers howling in my house at night? Why do I see the faint image of a child when I walk into a dimly lit bedroom? Where science fails, the supernatural, that which exists beyond the visible, observable universe, often fills the void, as it has for generations, for as long as stories have been passed along and handed down. Lots of Americans accept the paranormal as normal. According to a 2019 YouGov poll, more than 4 in 10 believe in the existence of ghosts or demons, and 2 in 10 claim to have actually seen a spook, a specter, or an apparition. The latter statistic translates to roughly 66 million ghost stories. A lot of people who aren't just ready to believe, but really believe. Part of the allure of the belief in the occult is surely the thrill that comes from being scared, the same sort of rush that comes from riding roller coasters. Surprise, surprise, I'm a roller coaster lover, so that kind of ties in. Where was I? This is because one of the hormones released during frightening activities is the same as the one produced during exciting ones, dopamine, aka the feel-good hormone. Isn't that weird? You get a hit of dopamine from being scared. Makes sense though. Science might not always be able to explain the supernatural, but it can at least provide some explanation for why it continues to fascinate. And this is a very creepy story. It looks like a girl is lying in a bed. Her eyes are definitely closed right here, like she already passed away. And her ghost, and someone else's ghost, looks like it's rising up. No, I think that's her ghost too. Weird. Okay, like I said, I'm just gonna like literally go like that. Okay. Let's do Frisco, Utah. It looks like we're in the chapter of eerie places. It says, once a wildly profitable mining town, Frisco is now but a shadow of its former glory. All that's left of the ghost town today is a few dilapidated buildings, remnants of mine equipment, and a beehive-shaped kiln once used to help smelt the silver. That's what these are down here. It says, in September of 1875, 2 prospectors found silver ore in a remote and desolate area of western Utah Territory. Within a year, the Fresco camp had sprouted up near the Horn Silver Mine, which, by the end of the decade, was one of the richest in the world. The Utah Southern Railroad ran a line into Frisco in 1880, and the population boomed to nearly 6,000. Frisco was the commercial center for the region. It also became one of the most lawless mining camps in the West. Isn't that true though? Like, the more people there are, the more crimes are usually committed. Sometimes it goes hand in hand. With more than a dozen saloons, so booze, and an alarmingly high murder rate, up to 1 or 2 a day, according to some sources. That's a lot of death for like a small town. But a cave in at the Horn Mine on February 12th, 1885, which shook the ground in Milford, 17 miles to the east, doomed Frisco. The mine restarted operations on a limited scale in less than a year, but it was never the same. Diminishing returns from the Horn coincided with Frisco's declining population, and by 1900, only 500 people were left. And by 1928, when Frisco lost its post office, the place was mostly abandoned. Today, all that remains of Frisco are a few ramshackle buildings, some deserted mine equipment and structures, a cemetery, and the ruins of 5 beehive-shaped stone charcoal kilns, which were used to make fuel for the mine's smelter. Isn't that crazy? Let's see if I can. These are kind of stuck to each other. All right, Frisco, Utah. We read you. Okay, let's go back to the beginning. This looks like I'm in the hotel section. Let me just go to the beginning. Yeah, because the Hotel Del Coronado. Yeah, these are the hotels. Okay. So let's read about Hotel Alex Johnson. This is in Rapid City, South Dakota. I've never been there. I heard the Dakotas are really beautiful though. Built in 1928 by Alex Carlton Johnson, the vice president of the Chicago and Northwestern Railway, this 11-story German Tudor is full of symbolism. The architectural style was selected because of the large flux of German immigrants to the Dakotas, while inside, especially in the grand lobby, accents of Native American heritage are everywhere, especially in the symbols on the original brick of the lobby floor. The place is reportedly also full of ghosts, the most well known of whom is a lady in white. I feel like I watched somebody do a ghost hunt on this because the hotel name is not familiar to me, but the lady in white sounds very familiar. Or maybe I'm just thinking wrong because it's always a lady in white. I don't know. But according to local legend, at some point in the 70s, a young woman killed herself on her wedding night by jumping out of the window of room 812. Guests and staff have reported seeing her spirit wandering the 8th floor. Yeah, someone did a ghost story on this. I already know. In room 12, or 812, the window is often mysteriously found open in the morning. The drawers in the dresser are sometimes taken out, turned upside down, and put back in place without explanation. She's not the only ghost on the 8th floor. Some ghosts have reported hearing a young girl giggling in the hallway. Absolutely not. The spirit is also known to knock on doors. One of the hotel's other permanent spirits is Alex Johnson himself, who died in 1938, but has apparently stayed behind to make sure things run smoothly. Wouldn't you if it was your business? I don't see what the big deal is. I would. Okay, we'll get a green little tabby thing for the Hotel Alex Johnson. I just feel like he should have come up with like a different name besides his own name. I know that's not the point of the story, but I don't know. It's a weird name. More hotels. Ooh, look at 10 must-watch scary movies. Ed Gein's Farm. I think this is probably a story that we're all familiar with if you like scary stuff. It says up here in the little caption, authorities arrested Gein, pictured below, after making several grisly finds at his farmhouse, which is right here and down here, on November 16th, 1957. The gruesome story has served as inspiration for horror films such as Psycho, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Silence of the Lambs. Well, aren't you just popular, you nasty man? This is in Plainfield, Wisconsin. This is, if I remember correctly, he's pretty gruesome, so I apologize. While searching a shed behind an isolated farmhouse that belonged to 50-year-old handyman Edward Gein on November 16th, 1957, I'm going to probably butcher this, Worcester County Sheriff Arthur Shaley made a gruesome discovery. The body of a woman, oh no, decapitated and disemboweled. Yuck, you guys, I apologize. Strung up by the heels from the ceiling. The body was that of Bernice Warden, 58, a widow whose disappearance from her hardware store that day. Gein had been there before she vanished. And there were bloodstains on the floor, and it prompted an investigation. Further search of the 8-room home turned up many grisly finds, including human skulls, so not the first time, a lampshade made from the skin of a human, see where Silence of the Lamb comes in, a face, ew, and the warden's head in a burlap sack. Ew. Gain had killed at least 2 women. He also regularly robbed fresh burial plots at local cemeteries. So it's not bad enough that you're killing people, but then people who have already passed away, you take them of their like earthly treasures. That's gross. He was obsessed with making a woman suit. What? Out of the hides of his victims and the bodies he stole from graves. Police found several items that had been fashioned from human skin, among them leggings, a vest, and several belts and masks. I just want to say, I apologize, guys, if you're trying to sleep, because it's pretty grisly, but I remember this story and I kind of want to get it out of the way in this magazine, because I knew it was going to be bad. Since the death of his mother in 1945, here's where the movie Psycho comes in, Gain had lived alone in a cluttered first-floor bedroom and kitchen of the home. The other 6 rooms, untouched since his mother's passing, were still neatly furnished in the style of 50 years before. The door leading from the kitchen to the rest of the house had been boarded up. In 1958, the farmhouse burned down under mysterious circumstances. Gain was found guilty in 1968 of killing Warden, but deemed insane at the time of the crime. He was committed to a mental hospital where he stayed until he died in 1984. Well, no duh, he's insane. You don't do stuff like that because you have all your wits about you. I mean, hello. Disgusting. Okay, let's go back to the back of the magazine and find something maybe a little less nasty. Ooh, Hollywood Forever Cemetery. Okay, the magazine wants to pop up right here. Try to smash it down. Okay, Hollywood Forever Cemetery. I'll read this first. The little caption says, "The tomb of philanthropist William A. Clark Jr. below." Dang, that's a big tomb. Further into the cemetery, the Abbey of the Psalms, I don't know what that says, mausoleum is said to be haunted by actor Clifton Webb's spirit, and the ghost of Virginia Rape, I'm not really sure, is often heard weeping on the edge of the lake near her grave. That's sad. See, I hope stuff like that's not true. I don't want to come back and be all devastated. Okay, this is in Los Angeles, of course. The sprawling graveyard opened in 1899 as the Hollywood Cemetery. It originally covered 100 acres, but the association that owned it sold some of its land in 1916 to Parlata Studios. A decade later, the property was purchased by Paramount Studios, which abuts the cemetery's south side, and the park now sits on a manufactured 62 acres. It was rechristened Hollywood Memorial Park Cemetery in the late 1930s. In 1998, after nearly falling into bankruptcy and closing its gates, it was reborn under its current name. There are more than 80,000 souls buried on Hollywood's forever green, sculpted grounds, including some of the brightest stars of the Tinseltown's golden age. Among the biggest names are directors Cecil B. DeMille and John Huston, and actors Douglas Fairbanks, Judy Garland, Tyrone Power, Fay Wray, and Rudolph Valentino, whose 1926 funeral was disrupted by crowds rushing police lines trying to grab pieces of floral arrangements sent in tribute to the matinee idol. Other notable grave sites belong to 2 of the founding members of the Ramones, guitarist Johnny Ramone, and bassist Dee Dee Ramone, as well as mobster Bugsy Siegel. And beneath a small marker by the man-made lake on the cemetery's eastern side lives the body of 25-year-old actress Virginia Rape, whose death in, I don't know if it's rape or rap, I'm sorry guys, whose death in 1921 at a hotel party in San Francisco led to manslaughter charges against popular comedic actor Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle. Oh, I know that story. The silent screen star was eventually acquitted in 1922, but the incident destroyed his career. A lot of people thought he did it, but yeah, he got off. I do remember that story. Hollywood Forever Cemetery is reputed to be among the most haunted places in Los Angeles, and many of the apparitions are the spirits of famous residents, of course. A wall that separates the graveyard from the Paramount Studios lot is said to be frequented by the ghost of Valentino, who has been spotted walking back and forth along the barrier. The studio itself is well acquainted with the supernatural, so much so that it's been given the nickname Paranormal Paramount. People who work there say that many of the hauntings at the studio have their origins in the cemetery next door. Well, yeah, if you work at a place where its next door neighbor is a haunted cemetery full of famous people, it's not surprising that people are claiming that they've seen a thing or two if you actually work on the studio lot. This kind of seems like a given. All right, let's try to find a couple more. We are already there. Let's see here. This looks creepy. Bannack in Montana. Never heard of this, I don't think. That's a very creepy building, and it has a really weird symbol up here. I don't know if you guys can see that on camera. I would not go in here. I don't care if it's daytime, nighttime. I haven't even read it, but I don't think I'd go in this particular building. But this is, I think, another mining town. Let's read this little caption. About 40 structures remain standing in Bannack, several constructed from logs, including the Masonic Lodge. This is a Mason Lodge. That explains the weird little symbol, which doubled as a schoolhouse. Oh, that's nice. Just kidding. The town was designated a state park in 1954 by the Montana Department of Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. So I guess it must still be standing somewhat, right? Okay. The Montana Gold Rush began in July 1862 when word spread of a big strike among the banks of Grasshopper Creek. That's a cute name, Grasshopper Creek. Almost overnight, the mining town of Bannack was born. Within a year, more than 3,000 people have moved into the area. Stores opened, as did dance halls, saloons, stables, meat markets, and hotels. There was even a bowling alley and a brewery. In 1864, the town became the first capital of the new Montana Territory. Though its reign was brief, the capital was moved about 50 miles east to Virginia City a year later. Among the first to arrive in Bannack was Henry Plummer, a complicated man with a checkered past. In 1856, he was elected Marshal of Nevada City, California, but he had also killed a man in what appeared to be an argument over the man's wife. He was eventually convicted of second-degree murder, and spent 6 months in 1859 in the prison at San Quentin before being discharged because he suffered from tuberculosis. Okay, so they're like, we know you killed somebody, but get the hell out of the prison before you kill other people with your disease. Okay. He returned to Nevada City, but then fled after killing another man in a brothel, and eventually made his way to Bannack. Oh, that's nice. He was well liked in the mining town and was elected sheriff in 1863. What the heck? Within months of Plummer's election, however, the number of robberies and murders along the road of Alder Gulch, I think I might have read about this place in a different magazine. It's starting to sound familiar. The site of Virginia City had increased significantly, especially on the road between Virginia City and Bannock. To deal with the problem, a vigilante, yeah, I have read about this place. A vigilante committee was formed by the citizens of Bannock and Virginia City, and the Montana vigilantes began hunting down a gang of road agents. Witnesses eventually identified Plummer as a member of the gang, and the testimony of captured bandits soon pegged him as the leader of the outfit. He was captured and hanged, yikes, January 1864. So he didn't get to really be the sheriff for very long because he couldn't stop being a person who broke the law. Like, he didn't know how to do it. Bannock's demise had already begun, though death did not come quickly. As gold became scarcer, people began to leave town, but new mining technologies kept the place hanging on well into the 20th century. It became a ghost town after the post office closed in 1938. So is that like, because I just read about a different town that said the same thing. Like, when the post office leaves, then the town is over because you can't get your mail. That's very, very interesting. 16 years later, it was designated a state park, at which point the process of preservation and restoration began. Today, there are 40 structures, some made of lumber and log, and some made of brick, still standing within the town. Bannock has come to be known as a hub for paranormal activity. The reports have included the sounds of crying children, and in the house where the town's younger citizens were quarantined, due to illness. The Brick Hotel Mead building is also said to host a demon. Oh, that's fun. The town holds an annual ghost walk in October. Very interesting. We'll do another pink one. Okay, guys, let's find one more story to close it out, and then we'll save the rest of this magazine for another time. Let's do another hotel. Ooh, the Queen Mary. Lots of people have done videos about the Queen Mary. RMS Queen Mary in Long Beach, California. I do not live too far from Long Beach, and I do not live too far from the Queen Mary. It says, the ship's most notorious haunting is in room, can't see, B340, a space once taken up by 3 third-class accommodation. Complaints from guests include phantom knocks on the door, covers being pulled off, and guests waking to see a dark figure at the foot of the bed. No thanks. See, no. The retired British ocean liner was both bigger and faster than the Titanic and even more luxurious, with 12 decks featuring an Art Deco design and intricate woodwork polished to a high gleam. It was with good reason that she was the preferred mode of transportation for royalty and celebrities crossing the Atlantic. The Queen Mary embarked on her maiden voyage in May of 1936, steaming from Southampton, England, to New York City in a little more than 5 days. That's pretty good. 2 years later, she set the record for the fastest Atlantic crossing, which stood until 1952. But in the early 1940s, the Queen Mary was reported as a troop ship to aid with Allies' efforts in the World War II. Not the World War II, in World War II. Painted camouflage gray and nicknamed the Gray Ghost, the ship's accommodations were increased from 2,140 to 5,500. Capacity would eventually rise to nearly 10,000. And she began making trips all over the globe, from Southampton to Sydney. It was during this time that the ship was part of the maritime tragedy. In 1942, she collided with a British light cruiser, HMS Curacao, cutting the smaller ship in two, resulting in the deaths of more than 300 crew. In 1947, the Queen Mary returned to civilian service as a luxury liner, and for almost 20 years, until the rise of population of jet travel, carried on in something of her former glory. She was retired in 1967 and permanently moored at the city of Long Beach, California. The city converted the ship into a floating hotel and opened it as a tourist attraction in 1971. Queen Mary ceased operations in 2020 due to the COVID pandemic. It says that. I'm just reading it. Stories of strange sights and sounds soon grew to the point that the ship became known as one of the most haunted hotels in America. There's lots of people doing tours of this ship. Lots of good videos out there. Just check it out on YouTube if you want to be even more creeped out. If not, then don't. During the ship's going years, at least a dozen crew members and more than 3 dozen passengers aboard died. The ghost of an 18-year-old crewman has been seen near the watertight door that crushed him during a drill in 1966. Yikes. And the spirit of Senior Second Officer W.E. Stark, who died one night in 1949 after accidentally drinking acid instead of gin. What the hell? Has been spotted wandering the ship's corridors. That's horrible. I wonder if it was really an accident. In the region of Queen Mary's Bow, where she collided with the Curacao, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Probably not. Crashing and grinding noises have also been reported. Oh, like a ghostly sound of the accident that happened. That's creepy. Okay, you guys, I think I'm gonna stop there. There's obviously so many more stories to read, but I think we did pretty good. I think we did about 6 stories plus the introduction. If you want to see more from me, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. There's probably like 30 more stories to read in just this magazine, and we're not even in October yet, so I'm sure I'll make videos with this magazine like 2-3 more times if it's something that you guys are interested in. Please let me know in the comments too if you'd like me to do one of these videos in a whisper. I know some people prefer that, but I feel like for me personally, people watch my whisper videos less. So you guys just let me know in the comments. I appreciate you all for watching and for participating in the little poll. I think the second place video was a cleaning video, so that will probably be my Friday video for those of you who like to watch me clean. I will put on my new black rubber gloves and clean something for you guys coming up later on this week. Have a good night, good day, whatever it is, wherever you are, and I'll see you next time. Bye.